This changes everything for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We have multiple huge updates to go over today, specifically surrounding a couple of key players, including one that we have yet to see this season. To break down exactly what this update is and discuss what it means, as well as a concerning one surrounding William Nylander that has just dropped. A ton to go over on this episode, folks. But before we get into it all, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Your guys' support has been absolutely unbelievable. Darius, a lot to go over today. The Leafs do play tonight alongside a Game 7 of the World Series. I hope you guys are enjoying playoff baseball, but also, of course, the Leafs here. We have some updates to go over today and things that change a lot as it pertains to this season going forward. And obviously, we're going to be touching on William Nylander first. This dropped just moments ago, about half an hour to an hour ago, and this is surrounding William Nylander, Darius. And we're going to dive into the, another big update here and how things can change. But let's start with William Nylander. He's not playing tonight, Berube confirms. And this team has been, I guess you could say, riddled with injuries, riddled with ailments. There's been a lot of different things that have happened, whether it be Joseph Wall, whether it be a lot of their, players, Scott Laughton earlier on in the year. William Nylander, another one of their, best players this season, is not playing tonight. And this month seems to have, I guess it's a new month now, but the month of October into November has couldn't get any worse for this team. They keep losing bodies.
Yeah, it sounds like that's going to follow the Leafs into November, unfortunately. But I think the good news, which we'll get to in this video as well, is that he's been skating. So it doesn't seem like it's anything too significant that's going to keep him out for a long time. If everyone remembers last year, Matthews went to Germany and that whole thing, that was pretty significant. Doesn't sound like it's anything like that. But if you think back to last week, it looks like it's something with his hip that's probably not allowing him to be mobile. I think a lot of guys are able to play through a lot of things, including William Nylander. But on the hit that he took or the awkward play last Friday, to me, it looks like it's a hip thing. So if you can't get around the ice and you can't make plays like William Nylander does, then you just shouldn't be in the lineup, right? Rest up and get ready to go here. So not in the lineup again. And I think that is significant for the Leafs because they've been struggling, right? You know, there's obviously been the whole Jays thing, and everyone's locked in with the Jays, and nobody's really paying attention. But they have been struggling offensively to put the puck in the back of the net, even though they did play a good game in that way with shots on goal and all of that stuff. The advanced metrics against Columbus and still lost, so you can blame the goaltending, defense, whatever it is. They've been struggling in different areas. But one thing they haven't been struggling with is the output from William Nylander and John Tavares so far this season, right? They've been absolutely awesome. So they need him back in the lineup ASAP. But to me, it seemed like an injury. And again, I'm just speculating at this point that is probably affecting his skating and how he can get around the ice. And that's probably why he's not playing, right? It's because, guys can play through bumps and bruises and stuff like that. It also sounds like we're getting a couple other guys back, which is good news soon, but it doesn't get any easier. Schedule does not get any easier. The Flyers have been playing well. The Penguins, for a time, were the first place team in the league, which is crazy. And then you also have Utah, who's a top 5 team coming up next week too. So they're in tough. They got to put up some points here.
Have to start winning at some point, and missing William Nylander. He's been one of their better players, obviously John Tavares and things like that. It changes the outlook of these next, couple games, depending how long he's out for. But speaking of people returning and people being out, Chris Tanev and Scott Laughton were both skating in practice yesterday and getting close to returning. 2 huge additions for the Leafs, one on the blue line and one up front. Now, Darius, this is obviously going to be huge, and this is what really changes things, at least for me, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, is Scott Laughton. Now, he is doubtful to play today. I don't think we're going to see him in today, with Lorentz being day-to-day, and Tanev is going tonight, according to people. So, a few different things here. Obviously, Nylander yesterday said he felt good. We'll see how he was. So things changed in a dime. But I want to focus on Scott Laughton for a minute. Now, Chris Tanev, he was healthy most of the year. Obviously, I guess not most of the year, for the first half or so, and then missed the past few games. Scott Laughton we haven't seen yet this year. And I think he truly, and it sounds crazy, he was a huge driving force in their preseason success with their lines. And their lines have been an absolute mess since. I think that Scott Laughton, they gave up a ton of assets for him. You're playing, of course, Nikita Grabenkin, throughout this year. They need him to be good, but also I think finally now, once we get him back in Nylander, you're going to see some stability, specifically regarding Scott Laughton in the bottom 6, and to see him close to returning is absolutely huge. It took about a month, but I think a little tiny bit ahead of schedule maybe, but regardless of that, he is good to go, and he will be playing, not tonight necessarily, but in the very near future. And boy, does that change the look of the entire team now, because he is yes, he didn't have a great year last year with the Leafs. He didn't play great in the playoffs, but he is you know what you're going to get with him, and he has some upside.
He's a big part of this team, and they acquired him for a reason, for depth, right? Because he was a second line center on Philly, and now he's a fourth line center on the Leafs, right? But he still has the abilities of a second line center. He has the speed. He can score, right? Maybe not as much as other centers, but he can score, and he's responsible defensively, and he plays a physical caliber of hockey. You know, we've seen him block shots, all of that stuff. So they need him back in the lineup, and then guys can start playing their natural positions as well, and they can get, like you said, some stability in the lineup, which will be really nice. And I feel bad for him. He's not playing tonight, and this is the first time they're playing back in Philly. So that would have been nice for him to get into the game. So feel bad for him in that way, but he'll be back soon. I think he is going to make a difference. He was looking like he was getting comfortable, which is something that, you know, looking back at last year, it didn't look like he was comfortable. So that's a big thing. So it looked like he was, getting ready to go. I'm excited to see what he does back in the lineup. Chris Tanev coming back is obviously, I don't even know how much time we have to spend on this because it's so obviously huge. They need him back. He's probably their best defensive defenseman, or maybe best defenseman in general. He can move the puck, all of those things. So he's going to help the team tremendously. They need him in the lineup badly, desperately. So nice to see him back in the lineup too. And then, of course, a couple guys I think are playing through some things as well. They've been riddled with, some injuries here and there through the season so far. But, hopefully they're getting all of this stuff out of the way now so they can go on a bit of a run. And obviously, I think the biggest thing we've been talking about so far this season, and a lot of fans, and of course, some of it's been overshadowed by the Jays, is how poor the start has been. But let's not forget, they started the exact same way last year, and with a loss to Columbus, that was embarrassing as well, right? So let's keep that in mind. We'll see how November goes. They're getting guys back from injury. We'll see how it goes, and I'm remaining optimistic for now. I think the panic button is in the near future, but it's not right now.
Yeah, William Nylander spoke about some of the recent mistakes, and he said it's pretty simple. It's an easy fix. We're making stupid
Yeah.
mistakes, giving up those kinds of chances. And yes, he's not playing tonight, but at the same time, you're in a pretty, you're not in a great spot. But again, for all the, it seems like the sky is falling down at times, all these different things. You're in a very similar spot to where you were last year. And I think that's, at least for some fans, good. Some fans, you obviously want improvements, but it's going to be interesting to see. And of course, Scott Laughton on his front, he is a pending free agent. So he is someone that is going to want to, and of course, he led the stretching in tonight's game. He's someone who's going to want to play good for himself. And that's obviously going to be a crucial point for his next contract, which I think is a part of the reason that this is such a crucial season for him. And you look at the lines, I mean, these lines are an absolute mess right now with all the injuries, whether you want to throw Robertson into the top wing with William Nylander out, whatever you want to do. I think they'll keep that second line, and they will keep that second line together. These are the most recent lines. But Darius, any final thoughts on this? Again, I like that third line with Joshua, Roy, and Cowan, but you get Scott Laughton back. Maybe you can move Domi back to one of the wings and actually put Laughton back in his normal position and put Domi back. There's going to be a plethora of moves once Laughton comes back, and that one move of him returning is going to have a huge domino effect on the rest of this team and hopefully give them a jolt that they need, even though I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking that he had a horrible year last year. That was last year, and this is, of course, a new year.
Yeah, of course. I think that he's going to offer a jolt and some energy to the team, like you mentioned. Domi's going to have to be moved, right, into a different spot, so it's going to lengthen the lineup. That's always a good thing. And then when you're looking at that first line, the way it looks right now, it's kind of reminding me of 2016, 2017 with Auston Matthews in between Zach Hyman and Connor Brown, right? So it's kind of reminding me of that right now. We haven't seen Auston Matthews play with, different players like this in a long time. So it's interesting. I think Robertson has looked decent as well. Always have. I just think that you have to, figure that out at some point. We can't keep doing this every year. But I'm remaining optimistic. I have to be honest. Even if they lose tonight, I'm going to remain optimistic, and we'll see how the month of November goes.
Let us know below what your thoughts are on that. I'm sure a lot of you guys will have the Leafs on the second screen, but hopefully we'll be celebrating a Jays World Series tomorrow and a Leafs win.